What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point. Talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Okay, today we have real one, because one of Russian artists, a girl from Moscow, she was just doing her routine day-to-day activities, and then for some reason she decided to donate $30 to Ukraine. Well, authorities came to know about this, they prosecuted her, and she was sentenced to 9 years in jail. Yes, 9 years in jail for $30. This thing only can happen in Russia, but if you think about it, this is one of the most classic methods of the propaganda. It's like literally propaganda 101. You do a martyr of one of the persons, of one of the citizens who did something, you show it on the news, on TV, so that people will be thinking like, well, if you can go to jail for $30, I will not better even think about donating or think about doing exactly the same what this person did. I better stay quiet, stay low. And well, unfortunately, this is one of the most effective methods how the Russian authorities control the minds of the Russian people. But honestly, that's not the only way how Russian authorities suppress the mindsets of the citizens. And literally Putin does look like he wants to start bringing down the Iron Curtain. Just like in the USSR, we're gonna talk about this in more details very soon. But for now, let me give you a very brief update. First of all, we're gonna talk about the biggest POW swap since the Cold War. Probably heard about this already, but I'm gonna give you some more details, which guys you might have missed. So yeah, long story short, this exchange happened in Turkey. Russians brought their own prisoners, then the West brought their own, they exchanged, put them in the planes, and they flew in the respective directions. What is so interesting about this particular exchange is that those who Russia was sending away to the West, they were primarily like, journalists like Evan Grishkovich from Wall Street Journal, like literally YouTubers, like just regular people who were just speaking against the Russian army, or how it's called, like spreading fakes against the Z army. These were just mostly just common people who dared to cross the regime of Putin. There was not that significant things what they did. But in return, those prisoners which Russia was accepting from the West, these were literally almost every single one of them used to be an ex-KGB or ex-FSB agent, spies, like those people who collecting the data on the West and they were supposedly bringing it back to Kremlin. So these are actually serious people. Once again, those FSB agents versus like literally YouTubers. Also, for comparison reasons, here is the picture of those prisoners who were sent to the West, and then right here is the video how Putin was greeting those FSB agents who finally were so happy to be back in Russia. Well, the difference is very interesting to notice. Whenever the Russian authorities were asked hours before this exchange happened, specifically Dmitry Peskov, he said that we don't have any comments, we don't know what you're talking about, like, okay, well, whatever it's gonna happen, we're not gonna say anything. And well, like literally less than 2-3 hours later, the actual exchange happened. As you can see, this is exactly how also Russian propaganda works, deny everything, and then whenever the event actually happens, then you can say, well, yes, it did happen, so what you gonna do about it? And for some reason, even though this was the exchange of political prisoners between the West and Russia, Peskov still mentioned that at this very moment, Russia is not planning to talk to Ukraine. Peace negotiations are not possible because Ukraine does not present any valuable statements. We don't want to talk with them because we don't see a reason to waste our time. And then obviously another statement came to us from Dmitry Medvedev, who is known for very ridiculous things that he says. He basically said that, yes, we'll let those Russians go, but don't you even dare to cross our path again. Just like start changing your names right away. Use the witness protection program, because if we do find you, it's not gonna be that much easier for you anymore. But guys, I'm very curious to hear from you. Who do you think won in this political prisoners exchange, where this was the West who received YouTubers and journalists, or it was Russia who received FSB agents, KGB agents and spies? Let me know down below in the comments who do you think won in this exchange. Right, now let me give you a very brief update now from Ukrainian front lines, from the east and from the south. First of all is the video from the territory of Russia, from Omsk, where a local oil refinery, as you can see, once again spontaneously caught on fire. And then we have a video from Belgrade, where according to local residents some loud noises happened and then there was this smoke. In Kharkov we can see a Russian infantry fighting vehicle BMP-2 catching an underground surprise as it usually happens, and then there was a big firework. And then another video also from Kharkov, where there is a counteroffensive of Ukrainians with the support of tanks and other military vehicles, obviously infantry. Well, this is a pretty effective video, or like with the sunset in the background, so yeah, very interesting, very actionable video to see. Then we also have a video from Bakhmut frontline, where, as you can see, yes, the activities still happen around the city, even though Russians unfortunately took it months ago. Basically what is happening, once again, this is a bodycam footage. Ukrainians are using the help of their armored military vehicles, they are pushing the positions of Russians, and this one is action-packed, almost 5 minutes long video. Very interesting to see. The full uncensored version, as always, is on my Patreon, guys. The link is down below. But unfortunately, according to Deep State, Russians once again had a minor progress, and they were able to almost fully capture the settlement called Vesely. And one last thing that happened in the south, specifically in Kherson region, is that the Ukrainian FPV drone was able to find a Russian military truck carrying lots of munition. It obviously targeted it, and then there was even bigger firework that you can imagine. Right, this was the update from the front lines. Now let's also briefly talk about Putin literally putting a price on each Russian citizen, which just shows how much he cares about his own people. And specifically what I'm talking about is that recently in Moscow, a sign-up bonus for citizens, for people to go into the CE army reached 1.9 million rubles, which is approximately $20,000. This is a big number, I mean just in general, but for Russians this can be a life-changing number. That is why so many of them unfortunately are joining the army, but the one thing which they don't know is that frequently, a lot of times, this money actually never reaches their pockets or bank accounts. They are promised this money, but then there's always like small text, like blueprint text, the one that nobody reads. And usually what this happens is that, yes, you did go to the special military operation, but you are not actually in the zone of the special military operation, which is considered to be the one where you are qualified for this 1.9 million rubles signing bonus. So, I mean, sorry about it, here is your $300. But even if Russians are getting paid those numbers, because I'm sure like 1 to 5% of them are actually receiving this money, once again for propaganda purposes, just to show on TV, hey, look at this guy, Ivanov, he received $20,000, now his life is changed. Well, in reality, these numbers are supposedly even bigger. Here is the table, and just for example, Moscow, the capital of Russia, this sign-up bonus, the total one, reaches in fact not 20, but $39,000, which includes this 1.9 million rubles sign-up bonus. Then there's even a premium from the mayor of Moscow, 1.5 rubles, and then the general sign-up bonus. So basically, when you sum up all these numbers, it equals twice than those 20,000. It equals $39,000. But once again, I'm almost certain this money almost never reaches the pockets of regular Russians. This is just pure propaganda. And another thing which Putin also recently started to do is to literally try to put down the Iron Curtain, just like it used to be in the Soviet Union. So let's briefly talk about this topic right now. And so yeah, just like we spoke in the very beginning of this video when a girl went to jail for 9 years, literally for $30. This is just another way of how the Russian authorities can control the immigration of the Russian citizens. You can literally give almost anyone like a criminal prosecution, an article like you broke the law here, you did not pay your parking ticket, something like this, sorry about this, but now you cannot leave the country. And well, recently the number of these laws, the qualifications, the requirements to be prosecuted and then to be banned from leaving the country, well, the number of these laws significantly increased, which basically means every single citizen which Russian authorities deem worthy not to leave the country, well, they can literally apply this to anyone. And another thing, according to this one of the most recent reports by the British intelligence, is that right now the Russian authorities, in combination with the Ministry of Defense, they are trying to create a new law which completely bans any single potential draftee age man from leaving the country. If this is approved, if this is accepted, this will most likely go into power. It will apply in fall of 2024, which basically is September 1st. At the moment of recording this video, it's approximately 29 days left. So what we are seeing right here is that just in less than 1 month, Putin literally can put an iron curtain, version number 1, which for now will only be applying to Russian men who can be qualified as draftees, which is like what, 1/3 of the population, to say the least. According to the Ministry of Defense of Russia and Russian propaganda, this is solely done just to not let the effective labor workforce to leave the country, because we need people in the factories, we need people in the offices, but well, I don't think that that's the real case. The real case is that they need soldiers for this indefinite war of Putin. So well, that's what Russian citizens unfortunately can do right now. They can protest, they most likely will protest, but the most favorite tactic of Putin is just to ignore the problem until it goes away. However, there is a danger to so-called permanent mobilization, and a very big one. So let's talk about this right now on my Patreon. Guys, this is an extra chapter, so if you want to continue watching, highly recommend. This is a very important chapter. Please go ahead and check my Patreon, link is down below, the best way to support my channel right now. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. This was interesting and informative for both. Useful links are down below: PayPal, Patreon, Instagram, merch. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.